5. There's still time. Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, December 17th, 2018. 17th of December, 2018. Thank you so much for joining us today for the final the final weekly updates and project call of 2018. We have a bunch of Friends of Mozilla to go through today, so we will get started. A big thank you. Bump that font size up, or we get new glasses. Thank you to David Humphrey and his students, Alex, Adam, Deepanjali, Julia, Adam, Jagmeet, Volodymyr, Huda, Shrina, Mukhtar, Rihul, Vincent, and Maya at Seneca College in Toronto for their work over the last month toward enabling ESLint on more directories, mainly DOM core code in the tree. This helps toward reducing possible errors in our code, consistency of code styles, and reducing work for reviewers. A true friends of the tree. Thank you very, very much. Thanks to Abdul Rauf, whose RC nick is Hazib, for continued triage of mobile incoming webcompat.com issues. Webcompat is, of course, very important to us in staying competitive with the other browsers, so we appreciate all of your hard work. Thank you so much, Abdul. All right, thank you to add-on reviewers BJ, Erosman, and Trishul, refreshing, sorry there, for their continued contributions to AMO. We love everyone who contributes in code, and we love everyone who reviews things and makes the add-ons community and ecosystem thrive. Thank you very, very much. All right, thank you to all of our outreachy mentors for the next cohort. When does the next cohort begin? Right now. So you're all doing amazing work, and thank you so much for making Outreachy at Mozilla possible. Thank you much, Outreachy mentors. And so this is the final project meeting of 2018, but it is also my final project meeting as your humble MC. December 31st is my final day at Mozilla, and this has been, I randomly stumbled into this thing where the previous host, Jono, needed a temporary fill-in while he traveled, and then he was like, okay, I think it's time for me to stop, and I took over, and that was 6 years ago, maybe. And so I've been doing it for 6 years, and yeah, so my tenure at Mozilla comes to a close at the end of this year, and this has been, I think, one of my favorite ways in which this job is weird. And I'm so happy to get to know so many people and to be a fixture in people's weeks. And just a huge thank you to everyone who's put in work and time to put stuff in the agendas and put information in the public for people to care, and thanking other people and helping us make new hires feel welcome. And a huge thank you to the AV team who has made this as turnkey as possible. When it started off as just a handy cam in 650 Castro to Air Mozilla and this mature thing where I can just wander down here with 10 minutes to spare. There will be more project meetings. There will be folks in 2019 who have stepped up. You may hear a little more from them a little bit later this meeting, but just a heartfelt thank you to everyone for making this. Composure LaCroix break. All right, upcoming events for this week. It is Suma week. Last week was Firefox 64 release, and so we're our Volunteer support community is helping answer user questions as they get updated to the new version of Firefox. Please help and be part of our support effort. You can click the link on the wiki to figure out where to sign up. On Wednesday, we have an add-ons community meeting at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time in the ACE video room, and we have the Sumo community meeting at 9 a.m. Pacific time in the Sumo video room. If you would like to be part of either of those communities or you're interested in what's going on in those communities, there are links in the wiki where you can learn more and how to join those meetings. It's toward the end of the year, so I think next week's probably going to be pretty quiet. I think a lot of folks in the U.S. are off for the assorted December holidays, and there will not be a project meeting, like I said, next week because it will be Christmas Eve, and the week after will be New Year's Eve. But we will be back in 2019. All right, some speakers for this week. We do have Asa here in Mountain View to talk about the Firefox Weekly Update. Let me get that loaded for you. You can fall asleep on the job.
Thank you, Potch. Hey everyone, Firefox 64 stable release came out last week. 64 includes the new feature recommender, multi-tab operations, a new task manager, and various other features. This is a pretty exciting release. If you haven't checked it out and dug into some of the details, click on the release notes to find out a little bit more about what's new, what you can experience in Firefox 64. The ability to select multiple tabs and move them, re-window them, close them, bookmark them, send them to other devices was a hit with the press. It made an appearance in the headlines of just about every news article that covered Firefox 64. This feature was made possible because of Google Summer of Code, mentoring from Mozilla's Jared Wine, and the hard work of a student named Abdoulaye O. Lee. If you haven't tried this out yet, it's really cool for reordering tabs, closing tabs to get rid of a bunch of clutter, and I really like sending 2 or 3 tabs to my mobile device all in one click, so it's really convenient for that. You can read more about 64 at the Hacks blog, which covers about everything you'd want to know. You can also read more at MDN, which deep dives on changes that web developers and add-on developers will care about. Firefox 65 is in the beta channel and moves to stable release on January 29th. If you're on the beta channel, you're probably using beta 4 right now. Beta 5 comes out tomorrow. Over the last week, we've uplifted about 40 bug fixes to beta, including several crash fixes, the enabling of AV1 video format, and fixing a bug where selection color visibility on dark backgrounds wasn't working for Mac OS. Firefox 66 is in the nightly channel and moves to stable on March 19th. Over the last 2 weeks, we've resolved about 600 issues, including these notable ones. I'm going back 2 weeks since I wasn't here for last week's meeting. We now use level 1 headings for major groups and preferences. This makes our whole preference window much more accessible, which is great because it previously was hard for users of accessibility-assisted technology to navigate our preferences. We've got a new error page for Mozilla PKIX error MITM detected. A lot of antivirus packages and other software attempts to man-in-the-middle Firefox for blocking what websites you could go to or corporate control over the sites you can visit. And users weren't getting a very informative message before. Now they get a message that tells them precisely what's going on, or at least a bunch of users will get a better message, and that'll give them some steps to actually take care of what that problem is, usually contacting their system administrator, reinstalling or updating their antivirus software, etc. We've implemented a Windows and OS X sandboxing for the RDD process. RDD is the remote decoder process. This is a new process for media used by AV1 and soon other formats. It's now sandboxed on Windows and Mac OS. Last but not least, a 17-year-old bug was resolved last week. This one is to block external protocol URLs in iframes. This is one of those evil traps bugs where you'd visit a website and without interacting at all, an iframe would load and it would spam you with 100 of your email application windows, totally blocking you from accessing your computer. We've just said no to that. It's a really nice change, and I was pleased to see that the reporter of the 17-year-old bug followed up to say thank you and to verify that the bug was fixed. That's it for this week on Firefox. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Lisa. All right. Next, we have our Emerging Technologies update, also here in Mountain View, with David Bryant.
Cool. What's new? Thanks, Potch. Recent news from Emerging Technologies. We shipped Firefox Reality 1.1. There's a bunch of new features in 1.1, not the least of which is localization for 7 additional languages. Firefox Reality originally shipped in English only. We've added 7 languages, not just to localize the user experience, but because Firefox Reality includes voice search, we've localized the voice search so you can do voice search in those same 7 additional languages. So rapidly, I think, and broadened the scope of Firefox Reality from a global perspective in terms of discovering and experience content on the web. There are a couple of other cool new features, including a theater mode in case you want to put your VR headset on and watch a movie in whatever imaginary movie theater environment you might like to own and operate. And a couple of other substantial features to the user interface. If you have a VR headset, it's available in the stores now for the Vive, Oculus, and Daydream. If you don't, stop by Mozilla office or watch for one of our tech speakers to be in your neighborhood. We can probably arrange to get you a VR experience and let you take Firefox Reality for a test drive. Also on the VR front, we had announced a month or so ago a joint competition with Sketchfab to build what we called clubhouses. So sort of custom environments consistent with our hubs, social VR experience, and the Spoke tool that we've created to let people build them. And we sponsored a competition with some prizes, Amazon gift cards, etc. There were a large number of entries. The finalists, the winners have been selected. They're published on the Sketchfab blog, so you don't have to have a VR headset. You can go take a walking tour of the winners. I will say, having tried to do this myself with hubs and encountered some of the limitations in terms of size and number of vertices and objects, the creative artistry on display here is unbelievable. One of the clubhouses is a 2-story wizard's library with a spiral staircase and an operating, orrery in the ceiling. So the folks that do this kind of work, I do not know how they do it. Maybe it's a secret, but I would love to learn someday. But the idea is to make all of these available so that we can use them in meetings and other things. So imagine your next meeting being in a wizard's laboratory rather than some regular place. And check out the clubhouses. There were also a whole bunch of great entries that didn't win. We were only able to pick the top 3. Some of the other finalists are just awesome. So you could spend an afternoon just wandering around in an elven forest treehouse, for example, and imagining you're having a meeting. And then lastly, Rust 2018 shipped last week. First major update to Rust since 1.0 shipped in 2015. So there's kind of a long cycle cadence here that the Rust team has been working on. As we talked about before, the emphasis of Rust 2018 was productivity and developer ergonomics. There's been a lot of work not only in the language, but in the tooling and toolchain integration and the documentation and others to really make it much easier for more people to spend time learning and bringing Rust to bear in the work they do. And really happy that all the hard work of the community, since it's been a very, very community-driven release, has worked together with the Rust team to publish 2018, Rust 2018 on time and get it out just in time for the holidays. So that's our news from ET this week. Thanks very much.
Thank you, David. And all right, next up we have Michael Van Cleek in Portland with the Weekly Minute. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello, Potch. Sorry, we had a little audio break up there, but thank you so much. So, how's it going? So sad, man. It's the weekly updates from Mozilla IT on the things we're doing to support and empower all of Mozilla in our mission to keep the web a global public resource, open and accessible to all. An internet that truly puts people first, where individuals can shape their own experience and are empowered, safe, and independent. And I don't know about you, but I'm really feeling it since Orlando. It's 2019's our year. Not much today for the minute. I just wanted to get a chance to be on Potch's last call. Thank you, Potch, for everything you've done for Mozilla and the open web. We love you, buddy. You'll always be a Mozillian. Happy holidays, everyone. There's no updates this week from... Yeah. Thanks, Potch. Happy holidays. There's no updates this week from IT, but we've been happy to help all Mozillians work smarter, faster, and safer in 2018, and we look forward to making Mozilla and the web better for all in 2019. Be safe and have fun this holiday season, and Potch, stay in touch, man. You're one of us. Thanks.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate that. All right, and also in Mountain View, we have Emma Humphreys with an update on the Bugzilla Dupe Finder. I'm super curious about this myself, so I'm going to pass it off to Emma.
Hey, and hello everybody. I've got a holiday treat for you, especially if you file a lot of bugs in Bugzilla. So let's say that I crash on close tab. So this is a little app that we wrote. I want to thank Israel Madume, who built an API for BMO that allows you to look up duplicate bugs. And you're probably used to seeing this when you're filing a bug in Bugzilla, that we suggest duplicates to you. And the question came up, why don't we just turn that into an API so we can build tooling off of it? And Israel did that. And it's been sitting around unused for a while, and I had some time on Friday, so I went ahead and built this. Again, hopefully you'll find it useful. The URL is bmo.finddupes.glitch.me. To ask for you, I'm going to get this into a repo on GitHub, and I would love to see a Slack bot, and I'd love to see an IRC bot for this. So take a look at that code on on Glitch. It's very easy to edit inside the app, but of course it's all right now. This is all a single-page JavaScript app. You can turn it into a Node app, a Python app, whatever you feel comfortable with. So thanks and happy holidays. Oh, one other thing really quick is it also works. Sorry. It also works on bug IDs. You just have to have a real bug ID. There. So, all right, anyhow.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I'm going to very quickly refresh. And then we do have a handful of introductions today. So we will start over in the San Francisco office. Peter, are you there? Give you a moment to saunter up to the podium.
Here.
Hello.
Hi. Can you see us?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Peter Cho, head of the design team at Pocket. So I'm introducing two new product designers who are joining the team today. So please give a big welcome to two people. One is Wolasi Konu. I don't know if you're in frame, but Wolasi Konu is joining us most recently from BuzzFeed, where he worked on internal tools as well as consumer products. And then we also have a designer, Tyler Miller, who was at a startup called Frankly for a number of years, working on a bunch of things. So welcome both Wolasi and Tyler.
And then we do have a remote introduction. Chris, are you with us in Austin? I see you.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
Great. So yeah, I'd like to introduce Brian O'Neill. He is joining video right now. So Brian, everybody. Somewhere there. Oh, he's gone. So yeah, I'd like to introduce Brian. He is new to the growth team as of today. So today is day 0 for Brian. He's going to be the senior product manager for premium subscription services. You probably heard a lot about this in last week in Orlando for the overall 2019 product strategy. Brian will be driving the overall product strategy and validating assumptions so that we can launch these premium services in 2019. And Brian is located here in Austin, Texas, where I'm located, and he'll be working remotely on the Firefox overall product management team. So Brian, welcome.
All right, before we wrap, we have a couple programming notes. So David's hopping up real quick. Oh, and Asa.
Yeah, just to reiterate Potch's comment from earlier, and the sort of the passing of the baton. We'll be continuing the project calls in more or less the same form, although I'm sure we'll be missing some of the weirdness Potch will take with him. We'll try and keep as much of it as we possibly can. starting on January the 7th. So Asa, Michael Van Cleek, Liz, a couple of us are working with Marty and Diane from an internal comms team perspective to just sort of put through whatever sort of torture a deal or ninja course is appropriate to select the next host and master of ceremonies and continue the tradition. I wanted to obviously thank Potch and let you all know that we'll be back here, same bat time, same bat channel on January the 7th. And if you have any questions or suggestions or ideas, or if you want to sit down and go through sort of the Potch's greatest hits video record that the AV folks are putting together for us, we will we'll happily take suggestions and feedback from folks as part of feeding that into how we kick things off starting next year. But thank you, Potch. And I think I can successfully claim that we've worked out an agreement, the terms of which are not disclosable, to continue to use "Keep on Rocking the Free Web" as the tagline for the call. Not supposed to. There's an NDA there, man. You're not supposed to say. We don't have to deal with that. So don't be surprised. I know you hopefully got stickers in Orlando. If not, that's possible. But clearly that's the plan. We want to keep doing that with you all together, and we look forward to starting that in 2019. Thanks.
And then Mitchell wanted to say something very quickly, so I'm going to pass to Mitchell.
Thank you. Well, first I'm going to say that my nomination for the Potch's Greatest Hits would include his booming voice coming out of Sanctuary one day, as it turned out, officiating a wedding. And then the other thing that I wanted to say is that, over the years, part of Potch's unofficial role has been maybe trolling the back channel for things that need to be said, but that are a little sensitive, or that others might not be comfortable saying, and trying to find a way to say them. And very often those have been, hey, I hear you, but I'm not sure you're really answering the question, or I'm still uncomfortable. And I just want to say how much I value that, how important it is. I mean, hopefully more and more of us feel more comfortable expressing what's really deep, or the misgivings we might have. But even in a healthy org, it's usually important to have someone who can take on that role. And so I personally find it incredibly important in trying to figure out how to lead and how to calibrate my assessment of the organization and you and who we are as we grow and go forward. Also helps me calibrate if I'm just old time, something I can let go of because it's from the past, or something that's really continues to be a live issue. And so I expressly also want to add to my thanks to Potch for taking on that role, and to say that I am looking for the next generation. So I'm not that hard to reach. I know often people are uncomfortable. But I do invite you. I personally think that's an important piece, certainly for me, and what sort of leading the project is different than managing employees, but actually who are we as Mozilla? What do we care about? What's real? What drives us? What concerns from the past have we overcome so we can stop worrying about them? And what's really important for our identity so that we project ourselves out in the world with authenticity, and that we continue to strive to act with as much integrity as is humanly possible. So again, looking for the next generation, and finally, thank you so much, Potch.
Thank you, Mitchell. All right, so we're going to wrap this. Thank you again to everyone for the kind words and the kind paper cutouts in Toronto. Yeah, I mean, I'm moving on, but the web needs Mozilla as much as, if not more than ever. And that's the reason that hopefully everyone's in the room, is to do the hard stuff and to fight for the web and users on the web and what it represents for society and humanity. I think, it's, if you're not, come here, make cool things, but keep that in mind. And that's, why it's important that you don't just, make a great browser, but that you actually rock the free web. The free part's important. The rock part's important. It's all there. Yeah. It's not. I made that up at some point and just kept saying it. But let's pretend it's sage. And so with that, hope you had a great year. Hope you have a great holiday, and I hope you keep on rocking the free web. Thank you so much.